So thank you for coming, and as you all know that we are all set for ISL 26-27. We've been having a lot of talks with the clubs over the last more than a month, and we're working towards organizing the league. Like last year we did it. I'm sure all of you all know that last time, sometime in the month of December, January, there was lots of speculation that the league will not happen. But thanks to the cooperation of the clubs, AFF and the clubs together, we did the league, which was a truncated league, but under the circumstances, that was the best we could do. Fortunately for us, that really ended on a very exciting note, with almost 5 clubs in contention till the end. And this year, yes, we would put out a tender, and the process was on, and now we slightly changed course, and we've agreed on certain things with the clubs. So the clubs, we are giving them the rights, the commercial rights for this league, and as usual, the AFF will hold on to the administrative and all the important aspects of running the league. So that's it. We'll open the floor later for questions. From our side, we are very, very committed to making this league one of the best in Asia at least, and we've been receiving a lot of cooperation from the clubs, also from the ministry, and last year the ministry did help in getting a few grounds free. This year they promised the same support, and hopefully if all things go well, I think action will begin on the field. Our biggest stakeholders are only 2 as far as AFF is concerned. On one side we have the players, the officials, the clubs, who are one of the biggest investors in this league, who have stood by this league for over 10 years through thick and thin. And on the other hand, we've got our fans whom we need to cater to. So this is our main stakeholders. So whatever we are doing, we're also keeping in mind whatever has been the recent decision in the Supreme Court, and also the new Sports Governance Act. So based on that, we are moving forward. I request, was it Ravi? Yeah, I request Mr. Ravi Puskar to say a few words from the clubs, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Apologies for the delayed start. As Satya sir has already mentioned, we're very excited about the league. But before that, to get here, it's been a long, drawn-out process. But we'd like to thank the Secretariat of the All India Football Federation, the President of the All India Football Federation, the Minister of Sports, without whose intervention we would possibly not be sitting in this position right now. Also the other officials in the ministry as well, who've been very helpful in allowing us to sort of put forward our thoughts and receiving it so well across the board. This has allowed us to put together the 14 clubs in the ISL to come forward and be able to present a league that we hope will be sustainable but also effective year on year, and we hope to build on it. Last year we had the benefit of working with the AFF to run the league that we did in the circumstances that we did last season, which was a minor miracle within itself, and we hope to build on that success this year by continuing to make it better as we go along. Obviously there were a lot of lessons learned. We'll try and implement all of those lessons in the course of the season as we go forward. What happened last season was unfortunate for Indian football, but hopefully this time, that will not be the case, and we will have a full-fledged season where every team will play their respective home and away games in a full quota rather than having to play a truncated format. Beyond that, we're very keen to get things started. We have a lot of work ahead of us. We look forward to working collectively with the AFF to try and ensure that the league is as successful as it can be.
We'll open the floor for questions now.
जैसे कि आपने कहा कि वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इन एशियन लीग, क्या प्रमोशन हुआ इंडियन फुटबॉल का इस लीग से? तो
देखो, when I say we are working towards making it one of the best, we already see the number of, even though last year it was a truncated league, our derby had a attendance of over 60,000, and till the last day, 20 minutes before the final whistle, 5 teams were still in contention. Now with the relegation also being implemented, it is going to get more excited. When I say it's one of the best, already I think organization way it is one of the best. The way it is being telecast, all that, the standards which have been set over the last 10 years, we had the same last year also. So when I say making it one of the best in Asia, I don't know what exactly answer you're trying to get from me. When I mean so, it is every game is competitive, the fans keep coming to the ground, and then building on that, hopefully the national team will also benefit.
What about the performance of Indian team.
Yeah.
Is it helping Indian team also?
No, if you ask in all over the world, players play with the clubs for more than 10 months. So we get them only during those periods where we are allowed to get them, like any other country. Yes, if you're talking of this current bunch of players, we have inherited them over the last 10, 15 years. But if you look at how our under-17 teams, if you look at the recent performances of our under-17 and under-20 and under-23 team, they've been among the top in Asia. Of course, we might not be in the top 8, we are there in the top 12, 13, 14. So from there to get into top 8 is a little more closer. इनका जो results है वो तो next few years में you will get to know because we started 2 academies, one in Bhubaneswar, one in Telangana, which is directly with the FIFA. We started a very good scouting system now. We got a full department, which is every junior event they're going. So we're trying to catch them young. Our girls got into the quarterfinals of the under-17, which was for the first time in the last 25 years. So the junior teams are consistently doing well. So this gives us hope that maybe in the next 5 years, ये लोग जब senior team पे खेलेंगे, hopefully the results will continue.
Sir, are they really juniors?
Who?
2-4 साल बड़े नहीं हैं?
नहीं, अभी जो भी players अभी जो आ रहे हैं, हम, I do not know whether you are aware, for the first time in the history of Indian national federations, AFF introduced the TW3 for its interstate under-14 championships. No other federation has ever done it. So in that, many kids failed that test. So from abhi wo jo 14 last year tha, abhi wo 15, 16, they're going to come up. So we are tracking that. So overage is a fraud which the world has not been, the sporting world has not been able to eradicate it completely. But we have taken this first step with the TW3, despite a lot of resistance. We have this thing yet, but I just want to come back to this. Let us get into the subject we are talking today, which is about ISL. Okay? Thank you.
सर प्रोफेसर ईयर सर एक लास्ट ईयर हमारे एफएफ में एक प्रॉब्लम हुआ था कि लीग का सस्टेनेबिलिटी अभी भी सर ये प्रॉब्लम क्या अभी सोल्व हो गया क्या सर
कौन सा?
सर जो लीग का प्रॉब्लम था लास्ट ईयर जो प्रॉब्लम हो गया था क्या वो प्रॉब्लम अभी सोल्व हो गया है
अब कौन सा प्रॉब्लम वो बता?
जो सर लीग हो नहीं रहा था एफएसएल के साथ इशू था और क्या सर ये इशू लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए सोल्व हो गया या फिर 2-3 साल बाद ये इशू फिर से आ जाएगा सर? कितना साल के लिए सोल्व हुआ है सर?
मैं वो आंसर करता हूँ. लास्ट ईयर अगर लीग डिले हुआ या लेट हुआ, इसका कारण एएफएफ नहीं था, क्योंकि कोर्ट में गया था. कोर्ट ने बोला आप एफएसडीएल से बात मत करो. 7 months उसमें हमारा चले गया. We lost 7 months because of that. After that we put out the first RFP. We did not get anyone. Then we put the second RFP and we started it with a new format where we along with the clubs jointly ran it. तो वो हो गया. अभी जो पुराना whoever had the master rights, they did not continue. So that was no fault of anybody. Market का हालत भी ऐसा ही था. But we did the league. And when we did the league, there was no difference in the quality of the broadcast. There was no dip in attendance. Yes, थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर. But despite that हमने वो किया. Last year अगर जनवरी में आप लोग जाके पढ़ो जो मीडिया में आया था, ये लीग हो ही नहीं, will never happen. They said how can AFF organize it? But we did it thanks to the clubs. Together we got together and we ran the league. And not only we ran it at a budget which shocked many. I don't want to go into the details, but we did it in a very shoestring budget, which now the clubs will start sort of build on it. ये साल वही होएगा. अभी जब हम वही हालत में हमने लीग किया, अभी we are starting much in advance. So this year the full-fledged league will happen and we'll try and do it. I mean now हमने रीति भी थोड़ा बदला है. हमने अभी clubs को confidence में लेके we are giving them the commercial rights because they are our biggest stakeholders. जब वो लोग आके बोल रहे हैं कि हमको दो, we have the expertise, we'll do it. Why not they do it? Because AFF का काम ये नहीं कि हम ये commercial aspects में जाए. We want to do football throughout the country and more than ISL, we got other events to do. Our sub-junior nationals, junior nationals, Santosh Trophy, the Women's League, the leagues below this, referee development, coaches development, वो सब भी काम है. But along with that, we will join with the clubs and run this. So you can rest, be assured that today that is why we are sitting with the clubs. We are making this press conference to announce to you all that we together are going to run this league and आपको भी मालूम, हमारा clubs को भी मालूम है कि if we don't do it in a professional way, then it is not good for Indian football. So we are all striving to ensure that this league is successful because people dependent on this league are so many players, so many coaches, so many support staff, owners. आप also think of the owners. Last 10-12-11 साल से वो लोग पैसे डाल रहे हैं. And they're doing it only because of the passion in the game. No one is there because they're making tons of money. Football में कोई पैसा नहीं बना रहा है. As of now, India में. But hopefully going forward, things will change. So that is where our confidence comes. हमने लीग तो करना है. नहीं तो players कहाँ खेलेगा. So हम कर रहे हैं लीग with the support of the clubs.
सर मेरा सेकंड क्वेश्चन है कि जो इससे पहले तो एएफएफ नहीं संभाल रहा था, बट जब भी लीग होता है एफसी को अभी एएफसी में जाएगा सर, कॉन्टिनेंट में खेलेगा, तो लीग एंड जो कॉन्टिनेंट में उनका सर जो शेड्यूल होता है बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करता है. इंडिया को जो कॉन्टिनेंट में रिप्रेजेंट करता रहता है उनका शायद एक हेडेक हो जाता है कि लीग को संभालो या फिर कॉन्टिनेंट कौन सा टूर्नामेंट संभालो. सर इस बार इसके रिगार्डिंग कुछ आप लोगों ने सोचा हुआ है, बिकॉज नेक्स्ट ईयर हमारा फीफा क्वालिफिकेशन राउंड फिर से स्टार्ट होएगा सर. तो सर क्या ऐसा आप लोगों ने कुछ प्लान किया हुआ है कि लीग एंड एक ब्रेक हो जाए, लीग एक टाइम पे खत्म हो जाए, उसके बाद हम थोड़ा कैंप वगैरह करें और हम प्रिपेयर करें, या फिर क्लब, ये क्वेश्चन मेरे क्लब को भी रहेगा, क्या सर ऐसा कुछ आप लोग सोच के रखे हो सर?
क्लब्स उसको आंसर करेंगे, बट मैं आपको ये बताऊंगा कि हमने ये बात क्लब्स के पास ऑलरेडी रखा है और क्लब्स ने हैव अश्योर्ड अस that they will also partner with us to see how we can get little more games, more days for the Indian teams to prepare. I leave it to the clubs to continue on that answer. Mandar?
No, from a question that you asked, you have to understand that from a commercial and broadcast-driven model, we are going ahead to a club-led model, which from a financial sustainability, we as clubs and the AFF believe that this is the right way forward from a commercial sustainability. This is how it's followed everywhere globally in the established leagues. So this is a big change as far as we are concerned in Indian football, where the club-driven commercial model we are entering into that. It's obviously an uncharted territory for all of us. So we have to take it cautiously and move forward carefully, taking all the stakeholders in mind. As everybody here before me have been speaking, that if you see in Indian football, the owners of the clubs are collectively the biggest investors annually in Indian football financially. So that interest has to be protected, as well as the largest scheme of things is Indian football has to be protected. It's also our responsibility as the clubs to help and contribute to the national team set up in the various categories, men's, women's. So that's also something that is we also have to bear the responsibility of that, and hence we are happy that for the first time the AFF as well as the clubs will be working together, and we don't have any commercial sort of partner or a broadcast driven partner in the scheme of things right now. It will be a commercially club led model. So that is the biggest change, which is going to, I think, be hopefully beneficial for everybody involved.
आपने दो क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, will give others. Yes, sir.
Sir, like thing is, will you give us some salient features of the agreement you have signed and the timeline also? Like now that it's September 4th decided, will there be any change or anything?
I'll just start and I'll ask my clubs to continue. Right now the process is this. After this we have to sit down. The clubs, it's their responsibility to put out the RFP, of course with our help. So that will be to get the broadcast partner. Then from our side, we are going to send out a letter to all the clubs in the next 24 hours, where we'll give them about 15 days time for them to confirm their participation in the 26-27 league. So in another 15-20 days, once we know all of them have confirmed, then we go forward with other aspects of it. Now since we've given away the rights to the clubs, the commercial rights, maybe they will answer what is the mode forward they want to take.
Yeah, I mean, I think a key word that we would like you guys to take away from this is that the league should be sustainable in terms of financial capability. So for us, the entire process is driven by the fact that, okay, now we have the rights, now we need to go out and monetize that. So as Satya sir has already mentioned, it is our intention to put out an RFP to try and bring potential broadcasters on board as soon as possible. So obviously now you do not want to be making decisions with regard to broadcasting fixtures without having consulted with both the broadcaster and the AFF, because we need to give our potential broadcasters also the best possible avenue to try and monetize the property as best as it can, right? So that will be the first priority that we will focus on. We also really need to go into the market to work with potential sponsors, potential corporates in the country who might be interested in investing in the sport. So all of that takes a little bit of time. As somebody also questioned earlier, how will it work with regards to the camps and everything and all that? I think that's also a feature that we need to take into context. So therefore, it'll take a little bit of work, but our intention is, of course, like we said at the beginning, to have a full-fledged season to ensure that every home and away game is played as it should be. So for us, we will need to get through our commercial framework first to be able to then be in a position of strength to be able to start the league in a manner where it is sustainable and viable as well.
Yes, please.
Question for Satya sir. Sir, initially the AIFA was averse to the club-led model. What brought about the change of heart? And another question for the clubs, maybe Ravi, you can answer. What happens now that, in the new structure, what will be the new structure, one? And two, will Genius Sports be part of it, considering they made a bid for it?
Okay, with regard to the first part of your question, AFF has never ever stated that we are averse to a club-led model. Earlier, there was an MRA partner who were running the league. And then there was a Supreme Court decision which said that AFF has to own and operate the league. So based on that, now we are taking a little more ownership to do the league. So that's how it is. Now, as far as whether it is a third party like Genius Sport who applied to run the league, or when our clubs came forward, they said we have the expertise, we'll run it. The right choice for us to make is to trust in our clubs because they're one of our biggest stakeholders. And they know that if they don't do it well, then they're in trouble. So this is the model which we did last year itself. It's not now we are doing this club-led model. Last year also it was a club-led model, which was headed by AFF, and together we did the league. That's how that league was successful despite all those naysayers, So that's it. The second part of the question you'd like to answer that, yes?
Sure. The way it will be structured and run is very simple. We will have a professional team that we will look to appoint. Again, you will see advertisements for positions going out in the next couple of days, possibly weeks and stuff, where candidates will be interviewed very transparently amongst the people that the clubs and the AFF choose to sort of, put on the panel to interview. And that professional team will make independent decisions of the league, will not have any sort of direct influence from the clubs, barring the fact, of course, that this professional team does report into the governing council, which will have club representation either at a director or ownership level, which will obviously be there to ensure that the sustainability of the league is maintained. But otherwise, the professional team will run the day-to-day operations of the league. And with regards to the question of Genius Sports, as Satya sir mentioned, they were one of the first ones to put their hand up to support Indian football. So we have encouraged them and given them an opportunity to come and engage with us. We're waiting for the response. It's a work in progress. So we're waiting to hear back from them. And as and when we have some clarity from them, then we can move things forward. But it would be not very prudent of me to commit to saying that yes, we will work with them or not working with them, because we want to hear from them first before we tell the rest of the world what our working arrangement with them could possibly be.
हाय सत्य सर, आदित्य दिस साइड फ्रॉम खेलाऊं. सबसे पहला सवाल, डायमंड हार्बर के बारे में क्या अपडेट है? विल दे प्ले, एंड इफ दे डोंट प्ले विल बी रिप्लेस्ड, या फिर आईएसएल 13 प्लेयर्स के साथ ही जाएगी, 13 टीम्स के साथ?
नहीं, अभी आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं डायमंड हार्बर के बारे में, हमको तो पता नहीं कि उनका व्हाई दिस क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग. As far as we are concerned, there are 14 teams in the league as of now. Diamond Harbour has been promoted, and whenever their club licensing comes, they anyway have 1 year to get their house in order. So that's why I said that we'll be sending out letters to all the 14 clubs and give them a 2-week time for them to confirm by making a certain amount of payment. तो तब हमको मालूम पड़ेगा कि ये लीग में 14 टीम आ रहा है या कौन नया आ रहा है, etc. But as far as we are concerned, as of now, we have not received any letter from Diamond Harbour that they are not going to participate or they are having any problem. Nothing has come. So we assume all 14 teams are ready to go. But maybe in the next 2 weeks, we'll get to know what exactly is the position. So, yes, yeah.
एंड सेकंड क्वेश्चन है, ओसीआई पीआईयू प्लेयर्स का इंक्लूजन जो आईएसएल में होने वाला है, उसके ऊपर कब मीटिंग होगी, कब डिसीजन दिया जाएगा कुछ?
कौन सा?
ओसीआई पीआईयू प्लेयर्स के ऊपर.
नहीं, अभी देखो ओसीआई प्लेयर्स का मीडिया में आ रहा है, क्या आ रहा है, आई डोंट वांट टू कमेंट ऑन दैट. You know that when the ministry put out that Niti document for sports, they said they made a statement that they would allow to utilize all the overseas Indians to come and represent the country. That was the overall statement which they made. But as far as OCI is playing for football, FIFA has got its own rules. So the president, Mr. Kalyan Chobe, has been behind this for the last more than a year, and lots of correspondence have gone, meetings have happened, and the government is working on it. Now, this is a government decision which has to be taken at the central level. It's a cabinet decision. So as and when something comes from them with regard to OCIs, we will implement it. As of now, we are telling the clubs that we encourage you, if you want, please enlist OCIs to play in the league. Other than that, as of now, there is no change in the way they get their players. They're 6 foreigners. They can get some OCIs to play. And AFF doesn't interfere in telling the clubs what to do. We just set out the broad outlines. As and when any direction comes from the ministry, we'll implement it. Maybe from the subsequent season or whatever it is. Yes.
जैसे कि आपको पता है कि एशियन गेम्स के लिए
Mike.
आपको पता ही है कि इंडियन टीम एशियन गेम्स में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करेगी. तो आईएसएल की परफॉर्मेंस पे कब तक ऐसा टाइम आ जाएगा जब इंडिया एशियन गेम्स में भी खेलेगा और वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफाई भी करेगा, या ऐसे ही ये आयोजन बस किए जा रहे हैं, कोई कुछ रिजल्ट आ रहा है यहाँ से?
बात यह है कि गवर्नमेंट का कुछ नियम है, ऑन व्हाट बेसिस दे सेंड द टीम्स. हमारा 40 नेशनल फेडरेशंस है, ये नहीं कि 40 नेशनल फेडरेशंस एशियन गेम्स को जाता है. नहीं, वन सेकंड, मैं कंप्लीट कर दूँ. नहीं मैं कंप्लीट कर देता हूँ.
फर्स्ट एट में नहीं आते आप.
हाँ नहीं आ रहे ना.
हाँ तो यूँ बताइए.
तो इसीलिए दैट इज द फैक्ट. अगर हम फर्स्ट 8 में आते थे हम वर्ल्ड कप में रहते थे. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दैट ऑल्सो.
बट नहीं रहते वर्ल्ड कप में.
तो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ अभी, जितना स्ट्रांग ISL होता है उतना ही स्ट्रांग हमारा नेशनल टीम भी होएगा. आई ऑलरेडी सेड दैट राइट नाउ वी प्रोड्यूसिंग अ नाइस क्रॉप ऑफ यंगस्टर्स. So hopefully in the next 5 to 7 years, we should see better Indian teams at the national level. Let us wait for that. I'm not saying that 5 साल में हम चले जाएंगे वर्ल्ड कप में. दूसरी बात, अगर ये OCS का आ जाएगा वो भी हेल्प करेगा. जस्ट टू गिव एन एग्जांपल, हम लोग मोरक्को के बारे में इतना बात करता है. In the Moroccan team, there's only one guy who's actually from Morocco. The rest of them, 75% have not even visited Morocco.
तो सर आप भी यही करने जा रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं, कौन सा?
बाहर के प्लेयर लेंगे
क्या?
बाहर से कुछ प्लेयर लेंगे?
हमारा देखो वो उनका कंट्री का वो पॉलिसी है, हमारा कंट्री का पॉलिसी अलग है.
एक तो ले लिया आपने ऑस्ट्रेलियन प्लेयर को.
नहीं, वो ऑस्ट्रेलियन प्लेयर खुद आया. ऐसा बहुत प्लेयर है, अगर खुद आना चाहता है तो आ सकता है. हाँ, और उसने एक इंडियन पासपोर्ट ले लिया है, इसलिए उसको हम खिलाए. ये नहीं कि वो OCS उसको खिला दिया है. द रूल इन FIFA इज वेरी सिंपल. ऑन द डे यू प्ले. सर आप क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं तो मैं आंसर देता हूँ, आप कहीं बात कर रहे हैं. हाँ तो नहीं, जो FIFA का रूल वेरी सिंपल है. जिस दिन आप आपका कंट्री के लिए खेलेगा, यू मस्ट हैव दैट कंट्रीज पासपोर्ट. तो ही हैज कन्वर्टेड, नाउ इज गॉट एन इंडियन पासपोर्ट. हमने छोड़ा है. अगर और भी OCS आके करेगा, वी विल टेक देम. बट राइट नाउ वी कांट डू व्हाट मोरक्को इज डूइंग. इट्स अप टू द गवर्नमेंट. द गवर्नमेंट हैज लॉट्स ऑफ अदर more important things to decide on. As and when they decide on this, if they give us instructions, we'll follow that.
Hello.
Hi. A couple of questions here. Yeah. One was, what is the ideal duration for the ISL in your opinion? Last year was of course truncated, but both in terms of it being financially sustainable and for the benefit of the players and improving the performances of the national team, the ideal duration if it is a full-fledged league. And in terms of the clubs, if it is a club run model, in terms of arriving at a consensus and working together, how do you plan to go about doing that?
I'll take the first one. Ideally, it will be about 8 months, because for the first time we are going into a 14-team league. If all the 14 clubs are playing, it will be for the first time ever, and ISL is going to be this big, and the 14 teams will play home and away. So it's about 182 games. And that is important. We do a home and away because we are also need to qualify to be eligible to play in the Asian Club Championships. The second part of the question, I'll ask, Ravi or Mandar to answer.
No, as Satya sir mentioned, see, obviously an ideal time frame is about 8 months, because that gives you enough time to then adequately plan the fixtures in such a way that it's commercially viable as well. So essentially we can look at possible models to where most of the games are heavy on the weekends and stuff, which obviously attracts more of a viewing audience and is easier for somebody to also consider it appointment viewing, right? We'll also remember we bookended the league by tournaments, cup tournaments either side of it, right? So we need to keep that in mind. So keeping that in mind, I think an 8 months is an ideal time framework. I think that's how some of the best leagues in the world function. So I don't see why we should be any different.
This FIFA also has altered its calendar of the FIFA international calendar.
Yeah, actually on that note, even if you see AFC as well, AFC also requires for you to be compliant to meet the criteria for you to play in Asian football. You also need to run a league that is at least a minimum of 7 to 8 months. Anything less than that is not considered AFC applicability if you want your clubs to then be represented at the continental level. So we have to be cognizant of that as well.
In the home and away format, after the home and away format, will there be playoffs like it used to be?
Yes.
Is there any thought process behind it?
See, again, that's something that we want to consider. But again, it's not something we've had time to deliberate upon and arrive at a decision. So it's something that we will decide, but very quickly we will make a decision on that as well.
One more thing, if any club signs an OCI player, will he be considered as an Indian quota or a foreign quota?
Foreign quota.
Foreign quota.
Just a couple of questions. First of all, this agreement, can you know how many years is it for exactly? And secondly, what happened last season at the center of the whole fracas was basically the MRA expiring, which was something that, practically everybody knew about for a long time, that this time is going to come. This thing is going to happen at some point in the next decade or so. Is there any plans that has been made for situations like that coming up, which could fracture the league again in the future?
So right now, it's a 4-year, what we are planning. So even the broadcasts and all that, we'll be giving them maybe a 4-year, they'll be available. But the clubs, we've given them that after 2 years, they have requested that if they want, they can exit from this particular model. So at the end of 2 years, if the clubs want to exit from this model, then AFF will have to rethink how we do it after 2 years. But the way they've come forward, the confidence they've shown, I don't see that happening, but let us see. So these are the only 2 time periods we've got as of now. And there are certain guardrails put in that they have to give us advance notice so that, we can sort of do. But for all practical purposes, the AFF, it owns and operates this league. So we will take the decision as and when such anything.
Still put in place for the end, how this period will end, which is what happened last season.
No, it's
and, there was a bit of a...
No, okay. That was a mistake which perhaps was done when they signed it, because December 8th was in the middle of a season. Okay. From now it is the start of the season to end of season. So we are signing it now. So from now it's 4 years, which means at least 4 seasons will be fully covered. So there is no in November, December, January, February, this ending. But of course, maybe it's ending, say, in April, May, the season. We've asked them to give enough time. So that has been put in the agreement.
Dhruv, if you can answer this. You've had challenges getting the home facilities, the stadium in the capital. That has been one of the hiccups. That has probably been the hiccup for a lot of other clubs also. How do you plan on circumventing this time around? And are there any conversations happening with the ministry in help with the AFF?
So I think firstly, from the learnings from the last truncated season, the ministry did come forward along with the AFF and offered us their full support. So most of the clubs got the support from the ministry, and we got the stadiums available at pretty short notice. We have to plan ahead now and give them our dates earlier, but we've been assured support again by the ministry. I think as clubs, in response to your individual question, as clubs, we also need to plan better and see where we want to be playing football, for example, in a city like Delhi. And we are going to be involved in engaging with the stakeholders of the AFF, with the ministry. And I'm pretty confident that we have their full support. And I think the short truncated season gave us the answer to your question, that all the stadiums are available and in pretty good condition. And I think we had a largely successful season. So yes. So.
One more, Satya sir. One thing that was also recommended for the ISL, I don't know whether it's set in stone already, is about the striker, a mandatory Indian striker. How will that practically work?
No, what you mean it is recommended? You say it was recommended. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I don't know whether that was practically set in stone or...
So we are leaving it to the clubs. Like we have discussed with our clubs, and like what Ravi answered, the gentleman, the stronger the league, the better the Indian team. The clubs are also aware that one of our Achilles' heel has been the lack of a good striker. So hopefully, they will help in that. And let us see. But this is something which we cannot implement. You can't tell them put a number 9, because it is for the coach, and every match the coach's tactics will differ. Some matches they want to win, some maybe they'd be happy just to draw the game. So it's very difficult for us or even them to implement it. But we are not insisting on that. But broadly, they know that what we have to focus is on to get some good strikers. So we'll work towards that.
Are clubs and AIFF in sync regarding release of players for the national team before international breaks and camps?
I just sort of said that maybe we're not concentrating. We have already had some round of talks with the clubs, and we requested them. So that is why, the earlier we sort of get into the whole aspect, we'll see how the scheduling can be done. We've requested them to give the players for a little larger time for the clubs, and hopefully, it will happen. And there's chances of that happening now, because the league is run by the clubs and the AFF, so hopefully, we can get that.
If it's reassuring to hear from a second voice, the answer is yes. We're running this league concurrently with the AFF support, not without their support. So yes, the answer is yes, if that helps the cause.
So none of the overseas players, will there be any change, or it's as has been in previous seasons?
I mean, it's...
No, I mean, somebody else asked that question, right? So we've said that the status quo is maintained for now. We will deliberate over it, but in case if somebody does want to come in and play and holds an OCI card, how would he be registered? He'll be registered as a foreigner, because we'll look at the color of the passport rather than the OCI card.
No, I'm not saying about the OCI. I'm just saying in terms of wherever they're from, the overseas players, like for 4 or like that will continue as
Yes. The foreigners, you mean? Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much.